The Glass Menagerie. Starring Shirley Booth, Hal Holbrook, Barbara Loden, and Pat Hingle. One of a series of distinguished dramatic television programs.
I have tricks in my pocket. I have things up my sleeve, but I am the opposite of the stage magician. He gives you illusion that has the appearance of truth. I give you truth in the pleasant disguise of illusion. I take you back to an alley in St. Louis. The time, that quaint period, the 30s, when the huge middle class of America was matriculating in a school for the blind. Their eyes had failed them, or they had failed their eyes, and so they were having their fingers pressed forcibly down on the fiery braille alphabet of a dissolving economy. In Spain, there was revolution. Here, there was only shouting and confusion and labor disturbances, sometimes violent. In otherwise peaceful cities such as Cleveland, Chicago, St. Louis. That is the social background of the play. The play is memory. Being a memory play, it is dimly lighted. It is sentimental. Is not realistic. In memory, everything seems to happen to music. I am the narrator of the play and also a character in it. The other characters are my mother, Amanda, my sister Laura, and a gentleman caller who appears in the final scenes. He is the most realistic character in the play, being an emissary from a world that we were somehow set apart from. But having a poet's weakness for symbols, I'm using this character also as a symbol, as the long-delayed but always expected something that we live for. There is a fifth character in the play who does not appear except in a photograph hanging on the wall. When you see the picture of this grinning gentleman, please remember that this is our father who left us a long time ago. He was a telephone man who fell in love with long distance. So he gave up his job at the telephone company and skipped the life fantastic out of town. Last we heard of him was a picture postcard from the Pacific coast of Mexico, containing a message of 2 words. Hello, goodbye, and no address. I think the rest of the play will explain itself.
Don?
Yes, Mother?
We can't say grace till you come to the stable.
Come in, Mother.
Tom, don't push with your fingers. If you must push with something, push with a crust of bread. And chew. Chew. Animals have secretions in their stomachs that enable them to digest their food without mastication. But human beings are supposed to chew their food before they swallow it. Eat your food leisurely, son, and enjoy it. A well-cooked meal has lots of delicate flavors in it that has to be held in the mouth for appreciation. So chew and give your salivary glands a chance to function.
Mother, I have not enjoyed one bite of this dinner because of your constant directions on how to eat it. It's you that makes me rush through meals with your hawk-like attention to every bite I take. It's disgusting, all this discussion of animals, secretions, and salivary glands mastication.
Temperament of a metropolitan star. You are not excused from the table.
Get me a cigarette.
You smoke too much.
I'll bring in the coffee.
No, little sister. No. You be the lady this time.
I'm already up.
Well, you sit down. You resume your seat. Stay fresh and pretty. When the gentlemen call us.
I'm not expecting any gentlemen callers.
Sometimes they come when they're least expected. I remember one Sunday afternoon in Blue Mountain.
I know what's coming now.
Let her tell it. She loves to tell it.
I remember one Sunday afternoon in Blue Mountain when your mother received 17 gentlemen callers. There just weren't chairs enough to accommodate them all. We had to send the boy over for folding chairs at the parish house.
Well, how did you entertain all those gentlemen callers?
Well, I understood the art of conversation.
I bet you could talk.
Oh, girls in those days knew how to talk, I can tell you.
Yeah?
Oh, they knew how to entertain their gentlemen callers. It was not enough to have a pretty face and a graceful figure, although I wasn't slighted in either respect. No, also had to have a nimble wit and a tongue to meet all occasions.
What'd you talk about?
Oh, things of importance going on in the world, nothing common or coarse or vulgar. My callers were gentlemen all. Among my callers were some of the most prominent men on the Mississippi Delta. Planters and sons of planters. There was young Champ Laughlin, who later became vice president of the Delta Planters Bank. Hadley Stevenson, who was drowned in Moon Lake and left his widow $150,000 in government bonds. And there was the Couture brothers, Wesley and Bates. Bates was one of my bright particular beaux. He got in a quarrel with that wild Wainwright boy, and they shot it out on the floor of Moon Lake Casino. Bates was shot through the stomach. He died in the ambulance on his way to Memphis. His widow was left well provided for, too. She came into 8 or 10,000 acres, that's all. But he just married her on the rebound. Never loved her. Carried my picture in his pocket the night he died. And then there was that boy that all the girls on the Delta had set their cap for. That brilliant, beautiful Fitzhugh boy from Greene County.
What did he leave his widow?
He never married. My gracious. You talk as if all my old admirers had turned their toes up to the daisies.
Well, isn't this the first you've mentioned that still survives?
Oh, well, that Fitzhugh boy went north and made a fortune. He became known as the Wolf of Wall Street. He had the Midas touch, that boy. Everything he touched turned to gold. And I could have been Mrs. Duncan J. Fitzhugh, mind you. But I picked your father.
Now, then let me clear the table.
No, honey, you go in front and study your typewriter chart. Practice your shorthand a little. Stay fresh and pretty. It's about time for your gentlemen callers to start arriving. How many do you think